All right, we are back here, Discipleship Academy. Thanks for joining us here on Thursday night. We're also do live videos on Wednesday afternoons as we're completing this series of trainings that we're going to put together, that we're going to offer the people who want to go into the ministry full time or just become very strong Christians. We will give you some homework and stuff to do on your own if you contact us. But watching the videos, you'll learn a lot about following Christ, learning things, so that you too can become a minister, a pastor, or a ministry leader, and we will ordain you into the ministry as best as we can if you complete the course, and you meet the standards of a minister. And so we believe that that is possible. All right. So that's what Hope in Jesus Ministries on the Bible Logics channel is doing. And so we still haven't lost the way we study the Bible. We're just putting together this series, Discipleship Academy. And so don't forget, we're part of Hope in Jesus Ministries. You got to go there, check us out. If you're able to support us, then by all means, we could use your support and sponsorship of some of the people we're helping. We're helping people who come out of prison. We're helping people with mentorship. We're helping people soon to be with spiritual counseling and deliverance from demonic spirits within them. And listen, these people need your sponsorship. They need your financial sponsorship. You know what I mean? I don't know how long we can do this based on our current donor base, but well, I don't know. Steve, you got anything you want to add to that? Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, the support is needed because these people are coming out and they really don't have any direction. Some of them do, but we just don't want them to get lost in the shuffle when they come out, We want to try to help them up with the counseling and but also the people that are, go to the food truck and stuff like that, they need counseling too, because a lot of them are homeless. But, and I think that Hope in Jesus will do a great job. First and foremost for us is that they understand the gospel and that they change their mind and understand it and know that they're saved.
That's a foundational thing. That you have to have. If you don't have a good foundation, this is why the church sucks. A lot of people going to church are not built on a good foundation. They're not even sure of their own salvation. They hope so, but they don't know so. So yeah, we definitely cure people of that disease when we preach and we share the word. But I don't know if people know this, but we're chaplains up at the prison, but you can look at the DOC has to put out their budget every year. It's online, what they spend per inmate in each building. I mean, in the women's, it's like $130,000 a year
For each one.
That's what they spend, right? Come on, guys. You know what I mean? The average is about 60,000 in all the facilities, Still, that's a lot of money. That's a Harvard education about. You know what I mean? Why aren't we just sending people to Harvard? See, they'll change their lives that way. I don't know. Instead of incarcerating them. So what I'm saying is we want to reduce the recidivism rate that is 70%. And we already successfully do it and reduce it by 40%. We have about a 30% return rate. Out of every 10 guys we minister to, after about 5 years or so, I see about three out of 10 come back.
Seen a few myself,
But that's a big difference than 7. You know what I mean? And so this stuff works, guys. And so we hope that you will, if you have some spare change around and you want to donate, please go to Hope in Jesus dispensationalismministries.org.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Amen.
Well, Steve, with that said, let's go back to our study.
Yeah, we have been studying dispensationalism,
Mm-hmm.
and yesterday we went through two of them, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The first
yep.
one was innocence,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
then
then I think we finished up conscience.
conscience. Yes, we did. Yep.
That we see God's grace through the ark, saving Noah and bringing his family safely to the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the third dispensation is the dispensation of human government.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just saying that the time frame for that was from the ark to the confusion of the languages at Babel.
Mm-hmm.
But what was new about this dispensation that was different from the others?
Well, God is saying there's another restraint that is happening. And so, let's see, what was I saying? So, will mankind govern under God's authority?
Mm-hmm.
So man began to, let's see, go to Genesis 9:6. Genesis 9.
Mm-hmm. Genesis 9:6 says, "Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God he made man. And as for you, be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply in it." Then God spoke to Noah, and to his sons with him, saying, "And as for me, behold, I established my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, every beast."
Yeah, this is
on the earth. Yeah.
this is a rainbow and everything.
Mhm.
But before this, God's laying down some law.
Right.
Whoever sheds blood, right? He says, "Surely for your lifeblood I will demand reckoning." Right?
Yeah.
"You shall not eat flesh with its life, that is its blood." In other words, you're not supposed to eat or drink blood. We say drink, but that's the idea. It's not eating a rare steak. It's just drinking the blood
Yeah.
from the animal. And a lot of people think that they get life. And so God is setting down some laws. And so people began to form a government that God said what they did was, how should I put it? I think they're a little bit wrong here. It doesn't end with Babylon. It actually ends with Sodom and Gomorrah during Abraham's time. Ends with Sodom and Gomorrah. Ends with, because they go out and they form all kinds of governments after Babylon. He says, well, you won't have one government, you'll have many governments. The reason I say that is because you see people break off, and then God decides to call one man Abram, right? And now he decides to make one government in which he wants people to come under. If you get my meaning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he no longer works through all the governments in the land. Okay? So Tony, where do you get all this from? Is that your question? right?
Well, yeah. Right.
He says, I'm going to give you, he tells Abram in 12, I'm going to give you a land, come out of the country,
Mm-hmm.
right? Come out of that. I'm going to make you a great nation.
Yeah, that's
All right. So that moves into the promise, right? But I want you to, there's a character that is spoken of whom is king and priest, right? He comes from the original Jerusalem, right? Do you want to, you know who I'm talking about?
Nimrod.
Nope, he's a good guy. Melchizedek, right?
Melchizedek, yeah.
So Melchizedek is from Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who comes and blesses Abram
Mm-hmm.
with some information that he really doesn't have. So Genesis 14, verse 18.
Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was the priest of God Most High.
So that's the ancient name of Jerusalem. But he was king, and he was also priest of God Most High.
Mm-hmm.
So these governments had formed where you had church and state together,
Mm-hmm.
right? Under the law of Moses and through the rest of history, you see the separation of those powers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see those powers anymore.
No.
But that was the government power of Jerusalem. But we see the governments falling down with the Sodom and Gomorrah and everything else. We see why God is forming a one government he wants people to come under, right?
Yeah.
But prior to that, it was governments trying to restrain the people, right?
Right.
And so he comes and he blessed him, and he said, blessed Abraham of God Most High. See, Abraham just thought he was serving a high God.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know he was serving the Most High God,
Most High God, yeah.
the Almighty God. And so this was something that Abraham started calling God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Abraham gave Melchizedek a tithe, an offering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so after this, God makes a covenant with Abraham, saying that through you, right?
Mm.
He says, and he brought him outside, look now toward heaven and count the stars if you are able to number them. And he said to him, so shall your descendants be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted to him for righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so this is the promise. This is leading into the next, right, dispensation that after him. But I just wanted everybody to see that I don't believe it actually ends at the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
I mean, there's trouble in the government, right? Because they're trying to create a name for themselves, a tower.
Yeah.
God says, geez, they're not restraining themselves at all.
Right.
So I need to break this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I need to, stop them from doing this, because they're actually were creating a place for Satan to sit. Right? Because you remember, he said he would build and sit on a mountain just like God.
Mm.
Well, most people think the Tower of Babel is like a round. It's not. It is an ignorant. It's a mountain. It's like what the Egyptians built.
Mm.
It's like what the Mayans built. So if you go back and you say, I will sit upon the mountains, right? Like the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do mountains look like? They look like pyramids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? And so they were trying to build these giant pyramids for the kings and stuff to sit and to look down. I mean, where do the rich people go in the city? To the towering, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the penthouses.
Oh yeah, the high.
All right, high ground. Look down on everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Because they are the most high.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is the devil's plan to bring everybody together, even though God told them to spread out and fill the earth.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But they didn't.
No,
And so God scrambled their languages, and here comes the end of all these governments that he wanted
right.
people to have, like the last one that we read of good government with Melchizedek,
Mm-hmm.
right? But eventually we know that came to a screeching halt somewhere, right? Around Moses' time.
Right.
Okay? So anyway, God said, "Listen, I'm not gonna put up with these people in Jerusalem much longer either."
Mm.
Right before he set out for Moses' law, so he gives a promise to Abraham. So what do you got?
What was the promise?
Well, the promise is through Abram. Right? A fatherless man, right? Mm-hmm. His name, Abram, means father.
Right.
Right? Abraham means father of many. He had none. Zero. He's 90 years old.
I know.
And he got no kids. And his name is Father. Mm-hmm. Oh, where's your kids? I ain't got none.
Right.
Right? So God makes this outrageous promise. Right? This one shall not be your heir, but the one who will come from your own body shall be your heir. Then he brought him outside, and he said, "Look toward and count the stars if you're able to number them." And he said to them, so shall your descendants be. Pretty much uncountable. Mm. Now, you know what's amazing about this verse scientifically? Is with the naked eye, all the stars we can see with the naked eye are charted. Mm-hmm. People navigate by them. As an Air Force pilot, as a Marine pilot, as any kind of pilot, you have to be able to navigate by the stars in case all your stuff goes out.
Yeah,
you have to be able to navigate. Mm-hmm. And so they've all been numbered. They've all been counted. Mm-hmm. So this says, oh, that doesn't make sense. Right? Well, we know today that there are many more stars you can't see. Right. So how is Abraham so able to say you're unable to number them, the stars? For sure. You can't. And people would lie and say, listen, the Bible is a lie. It's a joke. You can number them. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, until the 1960s. Mm. Once the telescopes and everything else, around then, 1860, I don't know.
Right, yeah. Well,
once those were developed, they say, oh my goodness. And now they say, listen, you can't number the stars. It's trillions of them. Mm-hmm. You don't know how many there are.
Right, yeah.
That's what it just means. It just means uncountable. He said, are you talking about trillions of people, Tony? No, I'm just saying, let's just put 1 billion people. Good luck trying to count them.
Yeah, let's put 1 billion people there and have Noah here and start counting them.
Let's start counting.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I say it?
Yeah. Steve, did you move?
Exactly. Yeah.
I told everybody to stand still.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's uncountable.
Yeah, so it's uncountable, especially when you get the twins. So that's what I'm saying, is that statement would have been false, but it happened. True. Based on what we know.
Right.
How people are saved. Right?
Yeah. Through
the promise that came through Abram, mm-hmm. his son.
And so the promise was to the physical descendant of Isaac, Jacob, and so on and so forth. The 12.
Listen, you can count all of them.
You can count them, yeah. But,
so Abram's saying, well, I got one. But he believed God. Mm-hmm. He believed he would have so many descendants, they'd be uncountable.
Yeah.
Now listen, we can count Abraham's descendants in the Bible.
Yeah.
But what God is talking about is through the Jewish nation came the Messiah.
Mm.
And what did Jesus say when your family's outside? He said, listen, that's not my family.
My family is a
People who believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I got more brothers, more sisters.
Yeah.
I can count.
Mm.
You see how it all comes together?
Mm-hmm.
Where people were naysayers and they didn't believe because they didn't understand the progressive revelation of God and what he meant by this. Through Abraham, we'd all be saved.
Yeah.
Right? Because of this one child.
Yeah.
You know? And so he believed God. So I believe really kind of here is when began the next, right? But the pattern is, right, that grace came, right, to Abraham, right? That we just read Abraham just minding his own business, and God says, get out of your country, right?
Yeah.
Calls him. He listens. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse him who curses you. And in all the families of the earth shall be blessed. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Mm-hmm. So he was 75 years old when he departed from his homeland. Mm-hmm. Right? So again, God providing and drawing a person out of these pagan governments, out of these pagan gods, and begins now going to set him up to be a nation through the promise of a descendant. Right? At 75 years old.
Yeah.
Right? I believe at this point, Sarah is 65 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I don't think Abraham had his child until he was 90, maybe 100, but Sarah was not far behind. Right? So, yeah, I would just adjust that a little bit, the Tower of Babel, and, you know. Mm-hmm. And so instead of spreading out, mankind unites in rebellion. And this is the failure. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So God, you know, you can say, okay, the judgment came, he scrambled the languages, but governments are still going on. I think we see God, really his wrath poured out on the governments is Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? That this is God's, because people just think it was just Sodom and Gomorrah. No, it was all the surrounding cities that were impacted by this.
Yeah.
You know, and who knows where God dropped his wrath to. So God's judgment comes upon these governments. And we see how bad it had become and how oppressive it had become in these cities. Yeah. Sodom and Gomorrah, they were oppressing each other. That's how oppressive they were, you know?
Yeah. So,
you know?
What do you think the message is behind when God, sent the angels to get Lot out of there, him and his family, and said, don't look back. But Sarah did, and she turned into a pillar of salt. So, you know, what is...
Yeah, it just says that's where her heart really was.
Yeah, she was...
She wanted Sodom and Gomorrah. She wanted that kind of government. Yeah. God says, I don't want that kind of government. Right. Why would you want those kinds of people? But they're my family. So?
Right, yeah,
It's what sometimes people don't get.
Yeah.
You know, oh, Tony, it's family. No. My family, are believers in Christ who follow Christ. That's my family. That's who I trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my brothers. That's my sisters. That's who I'm going to live with forever and ever.
Right, yeah.
I'm not going to live with those people who scratched at the door all night long so that they could rape those two angels.
Yeah.
My goodness. What is she looking back for?
I know.
Right? God said, well, we don't want you to be a part of this kingdom. You know what I mean? You're just going to, people wonder, well, God told Joseph, go in there, kill every man, woman, and child, everything.
Yeah.
So that's an example. God has the right to do that. God doesn't murder anybody because he has the power to raise them from the dead.
Yeah.
Right? But he wanted to show all the nations that he means business when it comes to how you oppress people and how you continue to break my law. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just going to grow up to be murderers, or like I like to call them, Democrats.
Perfect. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God says, listen, you got to make these people an example for all other nations to see.
Mm.
I'm not playing. Y'all better straighten up,
Yeah.
or you're next.
Right.
You and all your kin.
It's just interesting. And then they ended up in Egypt for 400 years under bondage.
Well, because again, they were disobedient. They weren't supposed. God said, "This is your land, not that."
Right.
Why'd you stay?
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you are disobedient to God, you're going to find you a slave to something.
Yeah.
It's only when they began to cry out that God said, "Okay, I'll come to hurt you." But he also said, listen, the iniquity in the people in the land, I'm going to give them a chance. I'm going to give them 400 years to change their ways in Jerusalem, in Israel. They didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're still cooking their babies to Moloch. Right? People don't understand that the drums would beat so loud during that time just so you couldn't hear the baby screaming. They put them on hot plates, right? And cooked them, basically. Right? They burned these fires under them, and they would throw their unwanted children in there as a sacrifice to Moloch, to Baal. I mean, how long do you expect God not to send someone in and do something? How long in Germany do you think you can torture people like that? That you could cut off women's parts and put electrical devices on them, like mixers, and see how they work.
Yeah.
How long do you think God's going to let you get away with that before an army rises up? America, how long do you think God's going to allow abortion clinics to rip babies from their womb piece by piece, to inject them with poison, to crush their skulls? How long do you think God's going to allow that? Arab nations, how long do you think God's going to allow you to have I'm trying to think of the word. What do they call it when men treat women like that? But anyway, dominate. How long do you think God's going to let you dominate women like that?
Yeah.
Treat them not as your helpers, but as your possessions. How long do you think God's going to put up with that, Iran? Ayatollah?
Yeah.
Before his spirit strikes into someone's heart, the people's heart, and says, listen, we got to do something about these people.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And even the homosexuality that's going on.
Well, it's gotten worse, but the problem isn't homosexuality. The problem is the sexual immorality, period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Men and women shacking up, out on the streets, don't care, right? Ain't nobody married. You know, everybody having 10 partners before they maybe settle down.
Yeah.
How long do you think God's going to... What did you think was going to come next? God says it starts out with sexually immoral people, but that's not the worst sin.
Uh-huh.
You know what the worst sin is? Is disobedience to parents, dishonoring mother and father, treating them, saying stupid things about them, not listening to them. All right? And then you become unloving, unmerciful, right?
Yeah.
You see how the Democrats are. They're unmerciful. They'll run you over. They'll punch you in the face for wearing a hat that's red. That's unmerciful, unloving, undiscerning. They're the most undiscerning group of people. The church is the most undiscerning group of people. There's so much garbage that goes on in the church today. Undiscerning. Yeah. When God has given us his Spirit, how much longer do you think he's going to go?
Yeah.
Right? You know, the problem isn't gay pastors or women's pastors. The problem is there's pastors who just plain lie. That's the biggest problem. The Calvinist, right?
Oh, my God.
The charismatic. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? They just...
blows my mind. It blows my
You can lose your salvation. You're not really saved if you don't speak in tongues.
When they defend tongues, they lie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have tongues over here, and people speak it, and we allow it, and it's real. And
That's how we know they're truly saved.
Yeah.
By their good works.
Oh yeah.
Okay, how long do you think God's going to put up with it? Right? Now, a day is 1,000 years to the Lord. It's not very long for him.
Right.
But the time is coming. Dispensationalism really says, oh, God tends to get fed up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's going to get fed up with what's going on earth. You know, he's going to make Sodom and Gomorrah look like a 4th of July picnic that went wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The damage that's coming after 2,000 years of walking on the blood of his son. God says, it's one thing to trample on the beliefs of bulls and lambs. And say, that's worthless. That's nothing. Okay. It's another thing to trample on his blood of his son.
Yeah.
It's another thing to deny his son. Listen, all right, you kill my dog, all right. Kill my son? Wait a minute. Now we got a big problem. That's what God says. So for 2,000 years, you trampled the name of my son? And now you want me to have mercy? Are you crazy? And even if I did, that wouldn't change you one bit. Son, I'm sorry. You know what's going to change you? A butt whooping. Mm-hmm. And that's only going to change half of you.
Right. Yeah.
The other half, it wouldn't matter what I do. But for half of you, it's spanking time. And so this is what God does. He dropped, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine everybody in the city, every male in the city, young and old, came out to rape those men?
That's astonishing to me. Yeah.
It's not astonishing. Look what goes on now.
I know. That's astonishing to me.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're all at peace as long as they don't have power. But they keep on electing mayors and governors who think like them. Listen, it's not long, dude.
I know.
It's not long until they say you all better embrace this lifestyle or else.
Yeah, I think about the governor in California. And, what's his name? Tom McDonald's song?
Right?
The devil is a Democrat.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I mean, this is, these Muslims, yeah, they're peaceful because they're in Mecca right now.
Mm.
Wait till they get to Medina when they have power.
Mm.
Wait till they have power.
Yeah.
You understand? And so,
what religion do you think is going to take over? Will it be Muslim or Islam?
well, it's the same thing. Islam is we call them Muslims, but they follow the Islamic beliefs, or what they believe is in the Quran. You know what I mean? But, you know, Muhammad was peaceful when he was weak. We see that when he lived in Mecca and he was outnumbered by the Jews and the Christians and everything else. As soon as he gets to Medina and he becomes governor in power, he can run the armies.
Mm.
You know, oh, now they all need to die. That's when God said, now they all need to die.
Yeah.
You know? And so this is the way of Satan also.
Mm.
You know, and, you know, but instead of destroying Christianity, they spread it out. That's all. And, but this is God's wrath that comes upon the disobedient. And so studying dispensationalism, you see that pattern.
Mm.
You see how that goes, and you can see God operating differently. But he keeps on adding more and more stuff for us. It's not that governments are no longer a part of our lives. They're a big part of our lives. It's no longer that we don't have a conscience. We do have a conscience, right? Mm. It's not that we don't have good in us. We do have innocence in us. Mm. We do have good in us. So we have innocence, we have conscience, and we have governments, right? Even before Abraham. Uh-huh. Then we get a promise that there's going to be a great nation built under God that is coming through Abraham.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see how that one ends.
So the fifth dispensation is the law.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. So let's look at the end of the Abrahamic covenant. Why does that one end? The promise. What happens there? Right?
The Abraham, I guess, that just ends with the Jews in bondage.
Right. Well, Abraham's descendant trusts God's promises, right? Right? You know?
Which they went there thinking it was going to be great. You know, I guess it was for a bit of
Well,
time.
God said, this is where I'm going to build my kingdom. This is where you're going to live. Yeah. This is where you're going to stay. Right? The famine comes, they go down. But when the famine was over, how come you didn't move back?
Right. Right.
How come you didn't move back? You with me?
Yeah.
And they found themselves in disobedience and in trouble. And then you found the oppressor. Listen, the promise was for Egypt too. The promise wasn't just for Abraham. The promise was for the world. Mm. You know?
Yeah.
But you had to come under the Abrahamic covenant, right? Circumcision.
Yeah.
And believe that Abraham's son was a proper descendant. Mm. That who would be king, not Pharaoh. Right. Okay, good luck convincing Pharaoh he's not king, because not only did you think he was king, you thought he was a god. Yeah. You know, the pharaohs thought they were king and God. And they had all these gods, and God, some people say the Ten Commandments was a strike at some of their most powerful gods. The god of the Nile, the god of insects, the god of the flies, the god of life.
Yeah, the god of water.
Well, I know that's Greeks, but I'm just saying that I'd have to look at it a little more deeply. I mean, let's see if ChatGPT can break it down for us real quick. Sorry. So let's have a breakdown of the 10 plagues brought on Egypt, how they discredited or went against the gods in Egypt. 10 gods. So. Oh, even this is what it says in Exodus 12. I didn't realize this. Against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Right? So the water turned to blood. This is Hapi, the god of the Nile. The guardian of the Nile is Osiris, whose bloodstream was symbolic, connected to the Nile. See what I'm saying? The gnats, the lice. Again, these are epitaph to define position or segment the goddess of healing. The people got boils, right?
Yeah.
God of the atmosphere, hail with fire, right? Darkness, Ra, the sun god. You with me? So Osiris, Isis, the entire Egyptian pantheon. So anyway.
Yeah. You see how they all connected.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that that verse is against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute my judgment.
Yeah.
So the plagues were specific to discredit their gods.
Yeah.
You know, and so just like when Moses went and he threw down his staff.
Yeah, they had a.
Right, and then they're like, oh, we can make snakes out of our staffs too.
Right.
Except Moses' snake ate all their snakes.
Yeah.
Okay, you know. And so anyway, interesting concept. But again, God's wrath poured out, you know, on the disobedience of Israel. Or just, you know, humanity in its all, not trusting in his promises. Right? So now God was going to make a nation under strict laws, written laws, in which we come to the next dispensation. And so we'll have to talk about that one.
In a few minutes.
And so, yeah.